Hello and welcome everybody to today's very special training, How to Trade Cryptocurrencies, presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. Today we'll be going through the latest developments within the cryptocurrency market space. We'll cover live market analysis. We'll go through a forecast of where cryptocurrencies we're expecting them to head next. And of course, we will be answering questions as well. And as always, providing live support too. So before we get into it, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading, as internationally respected experts. Our analysis and our opinions on the metals, the energies, and the cryptocurrency markets, they're routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which includes Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. And over the last 10 years, myself and my team of experts, we have trained and mentored thousands of private traders from all over the world on our exclusive research-driven strategies. For further information about the Gold and Silver Club, please do go to www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. Also, do make sure you go over to our YouTube channel and make sure you are subscribed so that you get all of the latest reports as well within the financial markets too. And make sure you subscribe to the binary.com YouTube channel as well. That way you can rewatch all of the recordings and get access to all of the daily updates too. Okay, fantastic. So with that, let's get into it. So today's session is, of course, going to be covering the top cryptocurrencies that we feel you should know about at the moment. So number one is Bitcoin. I'm sure everybody here has heard and is aware of Bitcoin, the original cryptocurrency, which is essentially the one that started it all. Bitcoin was created and released in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto, an anonymous figure. And essentially, over last year is really what has got a lot of investors sparked their interest with the big surge that we saw in prices over 2017, where Bitcoin surged over 2,000%, started the year off below $1,000, and at the all-time high of 2017, Bitcoin reached $20,000. So we saw over a 2,000% gain over that period. And of course, that saw a big amount of retail investors flock into the space in 2017 and at the beginning of this year as well in 2018 within the cryptocurrency space. Now, what I will say is that it hasn't been all plain sailing for cryptocurrencies in 2018. In fact, if you go back to some of the previous years, what does tend to happen on cryptos is that they tend to go through boom and bust phases. So each year, what you're tending to see right now is a boom phase, then a bust phase, a boom phase, and a bust phase. I would actually suggest that 2017 was a boom phase, a boom year. 2018 with the cryptos, with the bear market that we've seen from the all-time highs of Bitcoin, where it came up to $20,000 and corrected essentially about 85% of the move down to $3,000. I would say 2018 has been a bust year with respect to the declines that we've seen in cryptos, but it could set up for another boom year as we go into 2019. And particularly some of the cryptos are waking up even at the moment as we come into a seasonal point where normally they do. You normally see this seasonal play in gold, in silver, but also in the cryptocurrencies as well. And they're definitely waking up over the last week here. We've seen Bitcoin rallying over 10% this week. It surged from $3,100 up to $3,900 this week. And you can see what's trending at the moment over the last 24 hours has been the breakout that we've seen on several of the cryptos, with Litecoin up over 35%. There's a cryptocurrency which is now at position number 17 out of 100 called Waves, which is up 300% over the month of December. EOS was up approximately 35% so far this month as well. And Bitcoin is up over 10%. So we're seeing a lot of price action this week in particular with the crypto. So it's good timing right now to be going through some of the price action we're seeing at the moment. It was exactly actually at the beginning of the year, we had exactly a year from where the CME futures launched a futures contract for Bitcoin, and that actually marked the top for price of Bitcoin in 2017. And ever since then, we've continued to see this move lower in 2018 until really where we are at right now, where we're starting to see this bottom for Bitcoin get put in, and we're starting to see a bit of a bounce back, certainly for this week anyway. This was interesting from Bloomberg Crypto, which came out about 10 hours ago. This is a famous trader who nailed the Bitcoin top, has now covered his sell short. So he's been essentially selling short into Bitcoin throughout 2018, capitalizing on the big sell-off that we've seen so far this year. And he's now closed out of that sell short position, which I felt was quite interesting from a point of view as to whether we are marking a low here for Bitcoin as we transcend into 2019. I've seen Mike Novogratz, a famous Wall Street fund manager, who thinks, again here, he's put out quite a lot of updates of late, believing we're very close to an end of the Bitcoin slump here too. And we've seen overall quite a lot of positive narratives in the market here over the last few days. It's been interesting in terms of the top Google search trend for 2018 has been, what is Bitcoin and how do you buy Ripple? And we've seen this very clearly in the amount of verified users of cryptocurrencies, which is it's doubled in the first 3 quarters of 2018, even as Bitcoin has tumbled. So what we've essentially seen over 2018, although we've been in a bear market, we've continued to see this big increase in the number of verified users and the number of users in general on exchanges. For those of you who may have been within this space approximately a year ago, the biggest issue for retail traders when the prices were absolutely booming up. So this is going back to December last year, where Bitcoin was rallying up to 20,000. Around this time last year, actually, Litecoin had broken above $300, and you saw Ripple had rallied all the way from 14 cents within about a month or so up to just below $3. So we saw some incredible moves to the upside. The big issue last year was the exchanges could not take it. They could not take and verify the number of new clients that they had every single day applying to their exchanges. So a lot of exchanges, they stopped accepting new customers, and they didn't push through verifications and customer support, and everything was taking a very long time. So what you've seen throughout this whole bear market is you haven't seen such a surge at such a condensed point in time. So it was very intense last year over November and December, the amount of market participants trying to get in. Now they've had the essentially 12 months where exchanges have been able to improve their platforms, where they've been able to verify more users. And it does actually set up for the next time we have a bull run, and a lot of traders and investors start to come back into the market. You've got many more users who are able to get into the market, who are able to buy now, and they're verified, and they're very clearly in a position where they can also put capital into this market. So I think it's going to be quite interesting here and exciting as we go into 2019 to see really what pans out. There's a few major news items I want to keep you aware of as well. From a sentiment point of view, the markets are still very fearful. I can definitely see this. So throughout the year, this year, every time we started to see a rally on Bitcoin, you would see it on social media, on Twitter and Bloomberg. There was quite a lot of euphoria that we formed a bottom. It was time to get in. And the classic terms are like when moon and when Lambo, you know, which refers to when are you going to be able to buy a Lamborghini with your crypto profits, or when are we going to go to the moon, you know, in terms of prices. You're seeing a lot of euphoria on every single breakout that we've seen this year. I've noted that the breakout we've had this week is quite substantial, and it's actually, from a forecasting point of view, it's happening when we expected it to as we go into the last couple of weeks of December, which is something which is very cyclical as well. Because we trade at the Gold and Silver Club, gold, silver, platinum a lot, we often see this big uptick at the end of the year, especially after today. Once we get past the FOMC statement, we definitely see that influx come into cryptos, but we're not seeing that euphoria in the market this time, which leads me to believe it could be just a silent rally, as we often see at this time of year with a lot of the precious metals. And we may just keep building and building and building from here through to the end of the year into January. That's my perception right now from what I can see, because we're at extreme fear. Nobody's really getting FOMO. Nobody's getting greedy at the moment with crypto. Everybody's really fearful. We were around the 23 level. That was just yesterday. So we're right at the lower end of the range. And the market is very fearful still, which is basically code for when markets are fearful like this, it's normally an accumulation zone where you want to be looking. If you wanted to build exposure into cryptos, it's normally when everyone's quite fearful that you want to be looking to do that, and going the opposite of overall trader sentiment. Because when everybody's getting greedy, when the price is at 20,000 and it's all in newspapers and your neighbors are talking to you, have you invested in crypto, and everywhere you go, from family gatherings to Christmas and lots of events you might go to, if everybody's talking about cryptocurrencies, then you know it's probably likely you've missed the boat. But where we are at the moment, they're very much in fear mode, and we're right at the lower end of the crypto fear and greed index. So it's normally an accumulation point when we're at those levels. So it's just something to bear in mind at the moment. For me, these three exchanges will be the biggest game changers as we go into 2019, and I think you should be aware of them. First of all is Backed. That is the global digital asset exchange being put together by the Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, which is the owner and operator of the New York Stock Exchange. So Backed is essentially going to provide institutional money managers with custody and a regulated secure platform. So what's really important about Backed is that they're due to launch on the 24th of January, and they were due to launch originally on the 12th of December, but they pushed out their date to January. They are looking to go into partnership with Starbucks, which is going to allow essentially a payment gateway where you could, in theory, in time, you'll be able to pay for your Starbucks coffee utilizing cryptocurrencies. And of course, that would be huge in terms of more consumer adoption with utilizing cryptos. But they're also going to really target a lot of institutional type of managers and traders, because what you'll find at the moment, a lot of big money, if it wants to move into this market, they want it to be very well protected. They want to be able to buy en masse. They want to be able to get in very large positions. They want to have custodial service, which would mean they essentially own the cryptocurrency rather than have it on an exchange. And it's just a little bit too risky for a lot of the bigger money to come in with the current platforms right now. They're not built for institutional investment to come in, but they are. This is all coming as we go into 2019. Then you have TD Ameritrade, which recently announced a partnership with the exchange called ErisX, which is essentially like Backed as well, regulated digital asset exchange with custodial solutions. TD Ameritrade has over 11 million funded customers, okay, with over 1 trillion in assets under custody. So the pain of signing up for new exchanges, figuring out public and private keys, and having concerns about safe storage, that won't be an issue for those sort of investors and traders. 2017 and before that as well, big issue with cryptos is it's not for your average layman person on the street. You know, you have to have a lot of security when you're purchasing cryptocurrencies, unless you're trading them, of course, on a platform like MT5, which is fantastic, like the binary.com platform for trading them, where you can get in and out and you can capitalize on the day-to-day moves. If you're looking for long-term investments, you have to be savvy on security. You have to really know what you're doing. You have to look after all of your private keys, and you have to make sure, where possible, you're not keeping too much of your cryptos on exchanges and so forth. There's a lot of that needs to go into it, and it's not certainly for your average investor to be able to get exposure to those markets. They need to make it easier. Fidelity Investments have recently announced it would launch crypto products before the end of the year. That's actually been pushed out to next year in Q1 of 2019. Fidelity are huge. They're bigger than TD Ameritrade. They've got 27 million customers, which accounts for 6.9 trillion in assets under custody. So once they make that available for their clients, if a certain percentage of their clients want to get into the crypto space, get exposure to Bitcoin, Litecoin, or whatever the cryptos they want to get into, it's going to open up that opportunity for them to do so. So again, that allows for a lot of institutional and also retail money to get into the market that didn't previously have exposure. So that combination of those three exchanges alone, alongside talks about an ETF and what we're seeing within this space right now, where you've got the market is very oversold at the moment. They're coming back from this sort of basing formation that we've had throughout the year. And what you tend to see in crypto space is one boom year, one bust year, one boom year, one bust year. So again, I think 2018 could probably be classified as a bust year for cryptos, and I suggest next year could be another boom year as we go into 2019. So I do think it's exciting to learn about this now, to get yourself positioned for this, to have a platform to be able to trade them off, like the binary MT5 platform is really perfect for doing so. So that is a little bit of background of where we are at the moment, and in terms of the major news items. And if you just have a look at the major cryptos that I think you should probably have on your radar and have some awareness of, first of all is Ether. So Ether is a cryptocurrency for Ethereum, decentralized platform that can execute peer-to-peer smart contracts. As of September 2016, Ethereum was split into two. So you had Ethereum ETH and Ethereum Classic. And it's Ethereum, which had a phenomenal rise over last year, 2017. So at the beginning of the year, it was trading under around $7 to $8 in 2017, and at its peak last year, it traded up over 1,400 US dollars. So we saw that phenomenal rise over 2017 for Ethereum. So it was one of the best performing cryptos in the top 100. Then Ripple, you may have heard of Ripple now. We were talking about this actually on webinars this time last year, Ripple, and it actually did what we thought it would do, which is finally break out of that range. It was sitting within 15 cents up to 30 cents. It stayed within all summer long, and then everything happened within about a space of 6 weeks. It broke above 30 cents. It moved and broke out to $3 within the following 4 to 6 weeks. And that was quite incredible because we saw that real time as it occurred in the markets, and just phenomenal gains with respect to the breakout that we did see with Ripple over that period. Ripple is actually still relatively cheap compared to its all-time highs. It's down about 90% from $3 where it reached. It's at the moment trading above 30 cents. But Ripple is a real-time currency exchange settlement system and a remittance network. Cryptocurrencies are called ripples on that. Released in 2012, the Ripple system has been successfully integrated into a number of major banks and payment systems to reduce costs. Ripple climbed over 7,000% in 2017, and it's the third most. It actually moved into second place, but it tends to move between second and third between Ethereum. But we saw some phenomenal gains over the course of 2017 for Ripple. And then you've got Litecoin, which was released in October 2011 by former Google employee Charles Lee as an alternative to Bitcoin. It's a clone of Bitcoin, but it's faster and cheaper to transact with. Litecoin is similar to Bitcoin. It can be mined, used as currency, and transacted for goods and services. That Litecoin has moved up over 30% this month off the lows. It's been quite a big move, and most of that move has occurred over the last week. So it's definitely started to build up momentum. One of the fifth largest cryptocurrency, and it's a rival, or it's a clone actually of Bitcoin. It's just cheaper and easier to interact with. Now, what is worth noting at the moment as well is where we are within the stages of every cycle. So when you go through new technology, as we are in the moment, you go through innovation, early adopters, late majority, and the laggards. So this is the 4 steps to cryptocurrencies, and we need to understand where we are within these phases at the moment, and where we are within that whole market cycle. So we're still very much at the beginning of this curve with the market capitalization just above 100 billion at the moment. We're definitely right only at the start of this. If you compare it to the next asset class along, which is precious metals, gold in particular, that's a 7 trillion market cap. So where we are at the moment with crypto is only just getting started. We're really right at the beginning of this right now. It's still very much in innovation, early adoption phase right now. We're nowhere near early majority or late majority. So we're within this cycle where there's a lot of upside to go here, a lot of additional investors and retail market to get into this space. So we're right at the beginning of this bell-shaped curve right now, where there's still likely a lot of opportunity to be had, especially given the fact that we've had such big corrections over the course of 2018. A lot of cryptos have sold off like by 95% from their all-time highs, which potentially does offer a lot of opportunity as we go into 2019 as well. If we do rebound, it really depends on your overall thinking behind cryptocurrencies, but you just want to try and look at data and be aware of what is happening within this space, a lot of the technology that is growing within this space, and what could happen in the weeks and months to come. What I think is interesting and find encouraging is that some of the cryptos in the top 100, even over the month of December, as I mentioned, waves have gone up 300%. It's a little bit like what we saw last year. My own feeling is that we could see some additional big moves here between now and the first couple of weeks of January. We could get a fairly sizable run up if we see what happened in previous years at this time of year. You're also at a point, if you understand the overall context of the financial markets right now, you're at a point where a lot of asset classes over 2000 and this year, over 2018, have not delivered a positive gain. That includes equities. So at the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to get a Santa rally, which is something which happens each year, nearly every single year on US equities. They rally from approximately Thanksgiving, end of November, right the way through to January, and it builds up momentum over the month of December. instead, it's actually been the worst start to US equities and stock market since the 1950s. Over December, they've had a big decline. If you can imagine you're an investor, or you're managing your portfolio, some of you are, or you manage other monies, you're a money manager, for example, you would be looking for an asset class where you can actually deliver a return to your investors or your clients within the next quarter. And if you are more, if your portfolio is more in equities, and you can see that maybe we're moving into a bear market with equities, you've got to look at where to reposition your capital. Okay, so it makes sense, right? So if you managing other people's money, if you in a hedge fund or you're a money manager, and you've got a diversified portfolio, but if you're very heavy on equities, so stock markets, stocks essentially S&P 500 and so forth, Dow Jones or FTSE 100, and you can see we're moving into a bear market, they're not able to deliver at the moment, or it doesn't look like we'll normally get that seasonal move. You've got to make some decisions now as to where you're going to reallocate your portfolio. So definitely the metals, I would say gold broke out today above 5-month highs, even before the FOMC statement, which is tonight at 7 o'clock London time. I like platinum at these levels, and also silver just broke out to 1-month highs literally today. And gold had a pretty sizable move today, hit the 200-day moving average. If it breaks and closes above that this week, I'm targeting much higher levels for gold as we go towards the end of December and into January. So you've got the metals, which are a good way to diversify a portfolio. But some investors will look at cryptos at these levels. They're very oversold. Risk reward's not bad at all. If we get what we saw last year, there's good upside. So I would look out for that. There might be a sudden shift, because this is the first time this year I've actually seen stock markets sell off and cryptos get the safe haven bid. It used to happen a lot in 2017. Any geopolitical risk, gold would rally, silver would rally, and so would cryptos. And that's what you would really expect, because cryptos are really supposed to be, especially Bitcoin, it's supposed to be gold 2.0, the internet version of gold, right? But what it hasn't done throughout all of 2018 is it hasn't seen a safe haven bid until now, until this month. So I would look out for that as well. Some interesting correlations that we're observing within the crypto space at the moment. And then that brings us on to what we're looking at, really, I guess, just in terms of our trade ideas at the moment as well, and just some of the markets to be aware of over this time. So what I'll do, guys, I'll share my screen with you, and so you can just have a look at that. Also, before doing so, I mean, I appreciate everybody's like a different level of experience on today's session, and some of you will already have accounts set up. But if you do just want to set up and you haven't done so already, so whether you've got some experience, you want to be set up with a live account, or if you just want to start out and set up on a demo account, these are links you can utilize just to get your account set up. So you're set up basically so you can get set up with the platform for trading in the cryptocurrencies. Those are the links there. And also, I just drop you the link also to our YouTube channel as well, if you want to make sure you're subscribed to the latest developments. There's a lot happening within the commodity space at the moment. Today will be quite important because you've got the Federal Reserve announcement, which is coming up in approximately 90 minutes, and that's going to be very key in terms of driving a lot of markets forward from now towards the end of December and over the next quarter as well. The future guidance on interest rate hikes in the US will be really important, and that's all coming out later on today. So it's great timing just to take stock there and start getting yourself ready and prepared for that as we go into the next quarter. So with that, let me actually go over to my screens here. So I just see if I can just bring that out for you so you can have a look exactly what is happening right now. Okay, share my screen. Should be able to see that now. Okay, just quick checking everyone can see my screen. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Sharice. Okay, perfect. Right. So let's first of all, let's have a look at Litecoin then. So basically Litecoin this week it's up 20%. So fairly sizable move, bounce right off the lower end of the Keltner channels. We were looking at this with our members actually at the weekend as well. The fact that we had a falling wedge price structure and the potential to break out if we broke and climbed above the 8-day exponential moving average. If we broke above that zone and we broke above that pennant formation on falling wedge, we could have a sizable move. So Litecoin has started to get going. It's hit basically all of our targets we were looking at for this week. So it might be, as we come towards, we're midweek at the moment on Wednesday, we might start to just consolidate some of the gains here, but it's been a fairly sizable move. But I think as we continue to drive through between now and the end of the year, we could certainly see a revisit back towards a monthly pivot upper end of the Keltner channels, which best case scenario, which would position the price back around $40 between now and the end of the year. I could see the potential for that happening for more follow through. So Litecoin is up 20% just this week. So it's a fairly sizable move. Ripple actually broke out again today. It's up 6% today. Ripple's up 32% this month. So we've had also a fairly sizable breakout. And again, the timing is spot on in terms of rally from about mid-December here. And we've got this falling wedge price structure. We've broken out. We're at the lower Keltner channels, found support at the lower channels there. We're almost getting mid-range at the moment, but I would see the potential to break out back towards approximately the 46 zone here if we were to continue this momentum higher. Not necessarily this week because we've had a sizable move. It's already up 32% this week, but over the course of this month, we might well drive higher and make a move back towards a 43 to 46 level. So I also like the potential there for long entries or further follow through on Ripple here as well as we continue to build this base. Bitcoin today, what did we spike up to today? 3,900. Looks like we want to target 4,000 next on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is now up 20% this week, or 19.69% this week. Again, falling wedge price structure, climbed back above the lower Keltner channels here. We could certainly see potential for a move back towards, well, 4,000 would be the first target, but between now and the end of the month, we could easily get a move back towards the upper Keltner channels there, which reside at 4,640. Not necessarily this week, but between now and the end of December, that's certainly within the realm of possibility to move back to 4,600 zone. We've got a buy signal there at the moment, 3 consecutive days of following through. We might just keep grinding higher like this if we continue to see this weakness in the overall stock markets at the moment, and we'll see what happens on the FOMC statement, whether we do see a sell-off on the a further sell-off on the S&P 500 and US equities later on this week into next week, or whether they retrace and get some degree of support from very oversold levels at the moment. But Bitcoin, certainly, it's still quite oversold relative to the all-time highs there. And we've got a buy signal on that at the moment. Then you've got Ethereum. Ethereum's hit all of our targets this week as well. Again, we're only really just getting going and back above the Keltners, broken close above the ATMA. I'll tell you what I'll do. I've discussed this also during the course of some of the commodity corners. Let's just see where the 21 MA sits on our charts here, because that will be important as well. We need to get a close above that, which would signal a trend change. Yeah, basically there you go. So let's make it a different color just so that we can note that. So we do it as aqua. So we've got a trend change. The last time that happened was when we broke through support on Ethereum, which is when it broke below $200, and the trend changed again and switched into a sell. Now, as of today, actually, pretty much today, we're above that. We closed around the 21 MA yesterday. We're at 104 now, so we could be on for a trend change now. I mean, Litecoin did it earlier on this week. It already broke and closed above the 21-day moving average on Monday, married up with a buy signal. Previous times when we've broken and closed above the 21 in May, I mean, you can see here, going back to November of last year as well, we just ramped up and we didn't get back below that until right at the end of December. So we could be in for a prolonged recovery here as long as we hold above the 21 MA, ATMA. I would suggest we look like we're trend changing at the moment. Ripple as well, last couple of days has broken and closed above the 21 MA and the ATMA, so that's bullish. And so is Bitcoin today. Actually, is the first time it's broken above that since it broke through the floor, and since it broke back below $6,500. We've now, after this sell-off which occurred about for the best part of a month, it now seems to be forming a bottom here and a change in trend. All marries up well with seasonal timing as well. Ethereum back above $104 right now. Bitcoin Cash popped today. Christ, Bitcoin Cash this week is up 76%. Okay, that's massive. Today, 33%. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. So, I mean, these moves are not just reserved to 2017. There you have it. Bitcoin Cash might be worth having a look at that, guys. So that's really it's only just getting above the 21 MA today. Yeah. I didn't see it moved as much as that actually earlier. I think that's a recent breakout. It wasn't as high as that earlier on in the session. That's just, let's have a look at that on the hourly. When did that suddenly pop? Well, there we go. Last couple of hours. Okay. So there you have it. Bitcoin Cash, $137. So basically, next levels on that, midpoint is 178, upper Keltner's at 277. So that could, in theory, double still between now and the end of the month. It's up 75% already. So again, we're seeing some pretty big moves here, guys, and it's worth having this on the radar. Bitcoin Gold is up 19% this month, this week, and 4% today. By the way, in terms of the timing of this webinar, it's not so much a coincidence. We felt that we would get these big moves at the end of December, so we purposely put this webinar. We could have done it earlier on in the month, but I wanted to do it towards the end of the month because I felt that we could get a rally, as we've seen in previous years and as our forecasts were expecting, as we go into the last couple of weeks of December. So it's not a coincidence that we're doing today's webinar, which was scheduled over a month ago, we're doing it today. We're doing it on purpose today because this was where we felt we could really give you some good background into what we might see at this time of year and some of the moves that we often do see in the last couple of weeks of December. Markets are very cyclical. So if you look at gold, for example, gold is broken out to 5-month highs today as we get closer to the FOMC statement, and something known as a January effect as well, which could really set up quite nicely as we then head into the next quarter, or particularly the end of December into January as well. You can see silver as well broke out to 1-month highs today. So there's quite a lot. And we're actually at the Gold and Silver Club. Normally we are a bit quieter over next week as we go into December, but we see so much opportunity at the moment. And you can see cryptos are ramping up right now. We've got gold, silver, platinum all being fairly big movers. Palladium has broken out to all-time highs today. So the markets aren't quiet at the moment. So we're actually going to be launching additional webinars for our clients over the course of next week as well during the Christmas holidays. If you want to join us and you just want to become a member of the Gold and Silver Club, get access to the trades, the ranges, the levels that we provide, WhatsApp, email, and SMS, the link is there. So it's just www.jointhegold and Silver Club. Actually, join the live trading. You can do both. Join the live trading room.com. Okay, so there is the link if you want to make an application to become a member of the Gold and Silver Club, and the links above if you want to get your account set up as well. Those will also be posted below the YouTube recording of today's session too. And with that, you essentially get access to exclusive live trading room webinar invites, real-time trade alerts, you get trading research and market insights, private members academy website, and you get one-to-one support as well. So all of that by being a member of the Gold and Silver Club. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. I think that's everything that we wanted to cover with you today. And I think it's good timing to get this information. We'll see how things continue to develop. We'll catch you back here. We have another session tomorrow. So we do have another webinar session, which is going to be taking place tomorrow, and that is going to be at 6 o'clock London time. With Binary, there won't be any additional webinars next week, so just put that in your diary. It won't be next week, but it will. We'll be relaunching as we go into January with Binary on Monday the 7th. But if you want to be kept updated in the interim and you want to get access to trade alerts and trade ideas and our membership site and mentoring, the link there is www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. Okay, fantastic. So thanks again to Charisse and the team at binary.com for putting on today's session. We'll catch those of you who can make it back here tomorrow for the webinar at 6 o'clock London time. I wish you all good trading, and have a great Christmas as well, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Okay, so all the best, and bye for now.